Hello, Open Door Church. Welcome to Church at Home. So glad you guys took the time to tune in with us this morning as we take some time to just reflect on the past year, but also look ahead to the coming year. Pastor Adam and the worship team are going to lead us in a couple of worship songs, and then Pastor Kevin is going to come and share a message with us. After that, you're going to get to hear some stories and testimonies from others in our church as we share our end-of-year recap video, which just recaps all that God has done in the life of our church in the past year. After that, I also want to encourage you to use the discussion guide that's posted with this to talk about the message, talk about the past year, talk about the coming year, just talk it over with whoever it is that you're watching with, and use this as a time to celebrate 2023, but also anticipate and look ahead to what God has in store for 2024. Before we begin our time of worship, I do want to let you know a couple of things that are coming up. The first thing is that next Sunday, January 7th, is our annual Vision Weekend. Every year we like to start off the year just by seeking God for fresh vision and asking Him what He's leading us to do in the coming year. So I want to invite you to come and join us next Sunday as we come together to seek God both as a church, but also just seek God personally to see what it is that God's leading us to do in 2024. That Sunday, we're also going to be celebrating some baptisms. So if you or someone you know is interested in being baptized, be sure to reach out to us. It's not too late. You can message us on social media, or you can fill out a Connect card on our website at opendoorenid.church/connect. And just be sure to check the box that says that you're interested in learning more about baptism, and we'll reach out to you to get in touch to talk a little bit more about that. The other thing coming up is that tomorrow, on January 1st, we have a brand new online giving system that is going to go live. Many of you over the past couple of years have asked about setting up a recurring gift, and that's not something our previous system allowed you to do. And so we've put together a new online giving system so that if you'd like to do a recurring gift, you'll be able to do that. If you go to opendoorenid.church/give, again, that will go live tomorrow on January 1st. If you go to that link, you'll be able to set up an account and set up a recurring gift if you would like to do that. But then you'll also be able to log into your account to track all of your giving to see what you've given throughout the year. And so this new system is going to give a lot of new benefits, and so I hope you'll take the time to check that out this week. Again, that's at opendoorenid.church/give. Anyways, enough of me talking. Let's go ahead and begin our time of worship.
So I will not worry. Welcome to Church at Home. I hope you guys had an awesome time with family celebrating Christmas, and I hope you're excited about the new year. I love the new year because it's just a refreshing time. It's a time to focus on a new beginning, on a fresh start, on just having a clean slate for a new year. I love it. It's an opportunity to really learn from this past year, but also give this next year to God. And so it's an opportunity to stop and dream and to pray and seek what God would have for us to focus on for this next year. I think it's healthy to pause and say, God, what goals would you have me focus on for this next year? What healthy rhythms for me personally and for my family might you want me to instill for my family this year and for myself? It's kind of like we have the gift of a deep breath right before life picks back up. And I do think it's healthy to stop and reflect on what God has taught us this past year. But I also believe that Scripture is clear about not living in the past, not getting stuck in the past. Several years ago, when Megan was my girlfriend, before she was my wife, I had a big Jeep, and we love to go off-roading together. And actually, I think she just came along with me, and I think I'm the one that enjoyed it. But anyways, we would go off-roading, and we would go in the mud and the rocks and all over the place with this Jeep. And one thing that you learn pretty quick is you don't want to get stuck in the ruts. You don't want to focus on the ruts either, or else you'll go off the road. And so I learned pretty quick that you want to focus on where you're going and not getting stuck in the ruts. And so I just kind of learned from that it's so important to learn from the past, but not to get stuck in it and not give all of our attention to it. And so the good news is that God wants to use every bit of whatever we've walked through in 2023. He doesn't waste anything. And so all of our life experiences, good or bad, God can use to shape us and to prepare us for what's next. And so God has some really good things for us for this next year, and that's exciting. I love Isaiah 43:18 through 19. It says, "Remember not the former things, nor consider the things of old." In other words, don't get stuck in the past. And it says, "But behold, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert." See, God can make a way when it just doesn't seem possible. So today, our text is found in Ephesians 1:3 through 14. And I'm going to ask you to pause this for just a minute and read the text at this time. And when you're done, you can press play. So this text is broken up into three parts. It looks at the past, verses 4 and 5, the present, verses 7 through 9, and then it looks at the future, verses 9 through 14. And so Paul, the writer, he's like a little kid. He's so excited that this text is like one long run-on sentence. He's just like, just says all this stuff. And so first let's look at what he says about the past in verses 4 through 5. I just kind of want to summarize what these verses say. So in verses 4 through 5, he's really talking about how God's plan has always been that all of his creation would become a part of God's family through adoption. We know that not everyone will choose to become a part of God's family, but that's still what God had planned. And 2 Peter 3:9 proves this well, and it even says that God is not willing that any should perish. And it's God's desire that all of his creation become a part of God's family through salvation. So that's the past. Then it moves into the present, verses 7 through 9. And God is currently, because of what Jesus did on the cross, willing to forgive us, willing to pour out his grace on us, initially for salvation, but then daily he forgives us and just pours his grace out on us as we follow him with our lives. It even says, according to the riches of his grace. That means he has a lot of grace to pour out on us. I just think of it, he has a massive bucket of grace that he can pour out on us. So it looks at the past, the present, and now in verses 9 through 14, it talks about the future. This is talking about the road ahead. God has a plan for our lives here on this earth, but he also has a plan once we arrive in heaven. And God's plan is always good. God's plans are based on eternal purposes, and God is all-knowing. I love Jeremiah 29:11. It says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans for welfare and not for evil, to give you a future and hope." God has good plans for us. I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today from home. And I love you all, and I wish you a Happy New Year. And I hope to see you next week at Open Door Church. 2023 has been such a fun year for our church, and it's been so fun to see people take their next steps just with Jesus, to see people's spiritual growth, to see people begin to serve, begin to give, begin to just bring their families to church and get involved has been so fun. And I think for me personally, I think what's probably been the funnest thing to experience and see is prayers answered that we prayed at the beginning before we even opened up the doors of the church. We prayed for a lot of specific things, and to see that played out right now is amazing. It's amazing to know that God cares about the details of our lives. God cares about our church. He cares about this community, and it's just a blast to watch God move.
A significant thing that happened in my life this year is I was able, for the first time in my life, to go through trauma recovery counseling. In June of 2022, I read a book called Hope Rising, and it revealed that I had a lot of unresolved trauma as a child that I didn't know about. And that led to a conversation with Justin and Adam in January of this year, which led to an appointment with a Christian counselor. And during that time, in 3 months, I was able to deal with trauma head on for the first time in my life that I hadn't dealt with. Before, I had shoved it all under the rug or left it all, kind of in a closet, and I dealt with it head on for the first time. Ever since then, I have felt less angry, less irritable. I can sleep now, and I have a lot more peace about my past.
The first thing that God did for me this year in my life was give me a son. Me and my wife were trying for 2 years to have him, and it was a really, really hard time. Things just weren't working out good. We were having issues, and man, we prayed for so long. We prayed so hard about it, tears, everything. When I didn't pray specifically for the son, just for a child. And man, that we got pregnant in February, and sure enough, he's here now. He was born in October, and so that was a huge thing that he definitely blessed us with, that we prayed for. And so it's awesome having that literally answered prayer in the flesh that we have now.
In the past year, I've lost my dad. I've packed up my daughter and I, and we moved into our house of our own. I've started school. I've gone through all this stuff. I thought I had everything figured out, a plan for us, but I've truly felt that God has been with us and guided me into making all these hard decisions. I think any other person would have been pretty much broken after everything, but I'm just feeling really good, and I've felt his presence and his guidance, and he's given me a great support system. I truly feel at peace, and I'm so thankful for him leading me to this church.
In 2023, my family came to Open Door Church, and I'd done youth ministry for 25 years, and I was just really burnt out. And we walked in here, and it was just different. The whole church was different in a good way, though. And so it seemed like people from rich to poor, young to old, it didn't matter. We just felt like we fit in and welcomed a lot. My family has grown tremendously just by being able to sit back and learn and listen, and all the ministries has helped us, from the preaching to the great worship to the youth group where all my kids are involved, to small groups where I'm involved, and being able to take my time and work my way back into ministry has been great. It's been a blessing. We just grateful to be here and thankful for this year and where it's brought us as a family.
I got to go to Falls Creek and I gave my life to Christ and got to come back and get baptized by my dad.
That was the greatest moment in my life when I got to baptize my son, and it was incredibly emotional. Just like now, I'm starting to get choked up just thinking about it. It was one of the best things that ever happened in my life, and I think for me this year we got baptized as a family, and that was just absolutely incredible. What a feeling to be able to do that as a family.
For me, I just am grateful that we have this church to be able to come and celebrate and worship. Significant things for me is that God is the God of second chances, and I got to go back to college, and I'm finishing a nursing degree, and I'm just thankful that I get to have a second chance at that, as well as second chance at everything. We all get those, and that's really special to me.
He really just, like every other person, he gave me a second chance, and he gave me a complete perspective change. So I had a kid on the bus come to me and talk to me about being a Christian and faith and stuff like that. And so that gave me a chance to tell him my story and talk with him about it. And he was still very negative and kind of just not open to the idea. And he basically told me, what's the difference between you, who is a Christian, and me, who is not? I basically told him that, have you ever gone to bed feeling that weight and guilt on your chest for not doing something correctly or for wrongs that you've done in life? And he had said all the time. And I told him that when I go to bed, I don't feel that because God has given me that second chance. And it really just gave me a complete perspective change. I was like, wow, I've gotten this wonderful opportunity going from that typical high schooler who's just chasing lust and who's just not doing work and not paying attention. It just gave me a complete, I really can focus on God and have a second chance and just have this wonderful life.
Hey, thanks again so much for tuning in with us for Church at Home. Again, I want to remind you about the discussion guide. Be sure to use that with whoever it is that you're watching this with. Talk over the message, talk about 2023, and talk about the ways you want to grow and the things you're hopeful for in 2024. I want to wish you a happy new year, and we'll see you next week.